promised, I'm going to talk about phrasing today. Phrasing just basically means making sense of the structure and making your audience understand the structure. Now, typical phrasing in classical music, very, very common. They have a phrase which is like a sentence, which is 8 bars long. That's divided up in 4 bars question, 4 bars answer. And very often there are similarities, but they end differently. So it's very apparent here in the first phrase where you have the question. It requires something to happen. Then it starts again, as if nothing happened. The same. Now that feels a little bit more like a closure. And this is what happens in music. It creates questions or tension and looks for resolution. Now you can almost make a rule. You have 4 bars question, 4 bar answer. It's fairly common. It's so common it almost is a rule, but it isn't a definite rule. Yeah. So you do have to have a look at the music, and sometimes it won't follow quite as strictly as you would expect. That rule of 4 plus 4 makes a phrase. But how is that important? The thing is that dynamics and intensity of music, it isn't stale. It moves. It goes up and it goes down. You crescendo towards an important point, and when you close something off, you tend to go diminuendo, so you go quieter. Yeah. Now that will change for every phrase. It's not like you have to do 3 bars crescendo and 1 bar diminuendo. No, it changes for every phrase. That's the beauty of music. It isn't stale, it isn't predictable. Things change. Sometimes the important thing is at the beginning. Sometimes the most important thing is the last note, or anything in between, obviously. And now it's up to you as a musician, and I know this is really early to talk about it because we're first exercises on intervals, yeah. But if you start paying attention to it, you're going to start noticing it. And once you start noticing it, you can either imitate it, or you can make up your own mind and make your own choices. And you can be completely wrong, but it doesn't matter. As long as you make choices and you don't let your bow decide because you're wrong and now there's suddenly an accent. I don't really care if you do the most unmusical stuff, as long as you do exactly what you wanted to do. Not in hindsight, but in advance you go like, oh, I want to do crescendo there, I want to do diminuendo there I want to wait a little bit. Yeah, as long as we're with a metronome, you can't wait a little bit, but at least you can experiment with where do you go, what do you find important. Yeah, general rule, at the end of phrases, things do tend to die down. Yeah, so before the rests, you're likely to have most of the time a slight diminuendo, and definitely towards the end here the piece is very calm. But if you can make it work with the crescendo, by all means, I challenge you, go for it. Anyway, we're at 100. Let's make some music now, huh? Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. within the time frame of a metronome, there's still a lot you can do. It doesn't give you quite the same freedom as playing without a metronome, but once you have a solid framework in place, then taking a metronome away is easy enough. We'll get to that later. Anyway, one more to go with the metronome at 120. Yeah, I'll see you there. Bye!